Today I'm looking at two famous con artists whose stories were recently told by Netflix. Anna Delvey, or Anna Sorokin. Her story was told on the show called Inventing Anna, and Simon Leviev. You may know of him by watching Tindler's Swindler. What, if anything, do they have in common? Can astrology describe why they did what they did? And if they were to meet, would they like each other, get married, and have a baby from hell? Watch to find out. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive astrology. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, and hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate all of the support. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, there's a link down below. So Anna Sorokin, or Anna Delvey, is a Russian-German con artist. Her story was told on Netflix in the show called Inventing Anna. This is where I first found out about her, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole trying to figure out and learn as much as I possibly can about her. She was born in Russia. Her family moved to Germany when she was about 16. She went and studied in London for a little bit, dropped out, went back to Germany. Then she had an internship in France at a French magazine called Purple. And then in 2013, she moved to New York. Around that time, she started to use the name Anna Delvey, saying that this name was her mother's maiden name, while in reality, she made up the name. Between 2013 and 2017, she pretended to be a wealthy German heiress, saying that she has a rich father and she has a lot of money that is currently locked up in a trust fund. That's why she doesn't have access to it. She conned a lot of banks and a lot of her friends out of $275,000 US. In 2017, she was arrested. In 2019, she was convicted and sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prison. She served a couple of years, and then she got out early in 2021, but later she got convicted again and is currently in the immigration jail. I don't know, people who live outside the law there's this weird fascination with them, because personally I cannot understand why would someone do that, but it's very interesting, right? Like, to watch it from the outside. She's extremely brilliant, has like amazing memory, good fashion taste. She wore all these brands, and then she lied a lot, right? Like, she's a great liar. She created fake bank statements pretending that she has the money. And the whole time, she was also guided by this passion of starting a foundation called Anna Delvey Foundation, which would have been a private members club and art foundation. So she had this beautiful vision, and she came really, really close to getting the money to start it. So she is born on January 23rd, 1991, making her an Aquarius sun. Her moon is unclear, could be Aries or Taurus. Her Venus is in Aquarius and Mars in Gemini. So now, briefly, let's talk about Simon Leviev. Simon Leviev was actually born as Shimon Yehuda Hayut in Israel. So at the age of 15, he moved to Brooklyn. He was committing like small crimes ever since he was a teenager. And in 2011, he was charged in Israel with theft, forgery, and fraud for cashing some stolen checks. He never showed up to trial. He escaped, and then he was arrested now in 2015 in Finland. In 2019, he was also caught in Greece, but then the COVID pandemic started, and then he got out early because like they just let him go. They were like, COVID, crazy, go out there. It's almost like a prison out there in the world with COVID. But the main story is how he actually got famous is that between 2017 and 2019, he allegedly conned an estimated $10 million out of various victims across Europe. He would meet them on Tinder. That's why he's called Tinder Swindler. He would take them on expensive dates. He would show off a lot of money. Later on, he would pretend that, that he is in a tough spot, and these women would take out bank loans and they would lend him money. And of course, they never saw this money. So it came down to 10 million. So really, you know, crazy kind of things. He would pretend sometimes to pay them back by forging documents. Very attractive guy, obviously. I'm joking. He's not attractive, but like to lie to women like this, that's where part of my fascination came about as well. I was like, what is this guy's story, right? Like, why would these women just go and get a loan and give them money that they themselves didn't have? So he's born September 27th, 1990. He's a Libra sun, Capricorn moon, Virgo Mercury, and Venus, and Gemini Mars. So let's look at what they have in common. And interestingly enough, because they're born 4 months away from one another, they have a lot in common. They're both air signs, right? He's a Libra, she's an Aquarius. Air signs are known for quick mind, good communication skills, right? You look at all 3 of them across the board: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Very social, very chatty, very friendly. There's a little bit of like coolness and detachment that they possess, a bit of like rationality. But that coolness a lot of times is a source of charm. It's a source of like that kind of like aloof approach a lot of times attracts people. Because it's air signs, right? They're usually great with like technology and social media. Sometimes even like scientifically oriented, have great memory, which I think they both do. Their moons, so his moon is in Capricorn, hers is unclear. It could be either Aries or Taurus, which I could totally, basically because we don't have the time of birth for them, I could totally see both. Taurus, perhaps because she had an expensive taste. She lived in hotels. She tipped people $100 at a time. She was is really into fashion and luxury and kind of like beauty products, beauty treatments, taking her friends to spas, getting massages, etc. Feels very Taurus. But you know, Aries could be a part of it too, because there was a lot of impulsive money spending. Like there wasn't a whole ton of forethought behind some of her decisions. And his moon being in Capricorn, I think just makes him seem as very stable and solid and someone trustworthy and reliable, which could have been part of why these women trusted him, right? So both of them have Jupiter in Leo, which I also find very, very interesting. Jupiter in Leo in a healthy expression. Of course, I'm just taking parts of their charts that are similar, and if you have Jupiter in Leo and you're not a con artist, there's plenty of people like that, more people like that than people who are con artists. But you know, every placement has a high vibration and a low vibration. So people with Jupiter in Leo can be very generous, very supportive of their loved ones. And even Anna Delvey, she would tip people $100. So there is that generosity. She would take her friends out. When she had the money, she had no problem spending it on her friends. So it also gives them charm, because Leo knows how to put on a show, right? There is ability to be bright and expressive. Then if you take it wrong, or if you look at the more negative vibration of Jupiter and Leo, sometimes people with this placement may act entitled, or they may have this unhealthy belief that they deserve all the good things. Like, you know, they kind of need the best things in life and they must take center stage, and it's just their role. Like they're almost like playing a role. And what's interesting is both of them don't see that they did anything wrong. Like Sorokin, in an interview before her sentencing, she said, "I'd be lying to you and to everyone else and to myself if I said I was sorry for anything." And then Leviev, in an interview with CNN on February 21st, 2022, denied the defrauding of the women, claiming he was just a single guy who wanted to meet some girls on Tinder. Like, crazy, crazy, crazy things. So they both, another thing they have in common is they both have Saturn in Capricorn, as well as Uranus and Neptune. And Saturn in Capricorn is the place in rulership. And they actually, each of them has like another planet in Capricorn. For him, it's the moon. For her, it's Mercury. And Capricorn is the sign connected with hard work, and it's connected with ambition, Definitely a lot of ambition, love for beautiful, not like so much beautiful, but like love for authority, desire to be in power and desire to be a figure of authority. And, you know, you think sometimes of Capricorn as like, oh, they just work really hard, but they're ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of duties and rules and limitations. So a lot of times they know the rules, they know how to work hard, they know things require time, but they also know the rules and learn the rules in order to break them really well. You know, rules exist to be broken. And if you have a strong Capricorn placement, it's also likely that you work hard and you party hard. I always think of the Wolf of Wall Street archetype, or like the movie, right? Or like just finance guys. Like they work extremely hard, they make a lot of money, they're like very ambitious, but then they do drugs and like party and do crazy things. So that's another thing here. I think like there is that ability to use the system to your advantage, and taken wrong, you use it for personal gains and you don't care about other people as much. They both have strong Mercury positions. His Mercury is in rulership in Virgo, very analytical, very detail-oriented, and he was actually giving advice to people, some kind of like technical advice, I believe. And she has Mercury in Capricorn conjunct Uranus. And supposedly she has this brilliant memory. She kind of memorizes everything that was said, and like huge reserves of memory. And Mercury-Uranus is responsible for brilliance, for quickness. A lot of times, if you have that aspect in your chart, you may figure things out before people even finish saying them. Venus, his Venus is in Virgo, which sometimes, a lot of times has that shy and modest charm, but his Venus is different from his Mars in Gemini. So internally, there's a bit of a conflict there, right? Like he may come across as this humble, shy Venus in Virgo, but then his Mars, which I'm about to talk about Mars in a second, I find it the most exciting part of the whole thing. His Mars is different. His Mars is a trickster. And for her, her Venus is in Aquarius, but it squares Pluto. So there is some intense aspect. Venus and Pluto is the planet of the underworld. It's the planet of obsession. It's the planet of darkness. And when you have Venus in aspect with that darkness, it might show up in like being obsessed with sex, being obsessed with power, being obsessed with fashion. And she definitely has that, like, you know, kind of like tunnel vision. She wanted to start a foundation. She did all she could to start that foundation. She wanted to wear the best clothes for her trial. She did her best to wear best clothes for her trial. There is a lot of that, like, focused energy, obsessive energy. And of course, Pluto, sometimes taken the wrong way, also can be connected to manipulation and power struggles and stuff like that. So finally, having Mars in Gemini is something that they both share. And I told you that they were born 4 months apart. And Mars usually spends about month and a half in a sign. However, every 2 years it goes retrograde. So these two are born right at that cycle when Mars was retrograde in Gemini. So they have the same Mars placement. And Mars in Gemini, Mars being the planet of action, Gemini being the planet of two twins, intellect, mind, curiosity, quick communication. Mars works in the realm of Gemini and Mercury. So Mars in Gemini becomes kind of like a trickster. These people can get out of any tough situation by using their words. They can spin the story, they can tell you something that you wouldn't even understand did they answer the question or not. If you listen to any of Anna Sorokin Delvey's interviews on YouTube, you'll hear that she never answers questions straight. She just kind of, you know, like she's very playful, but it's very indirect. It's very almost like a fish, you know, like Piscean quality a little bit. You cannot catch her. Like she doesn't give you a direct answer. So they both are very clever, very flexible, and great salespeople. Anna sold people on her foundation. She came super close, all that they just needed to check her money, which she didn't have, and that's where it fell apart. And Simon offered business advice for a fee on his website. So ability to sell air, right? Like, amazing. I'm totally both like repulsed by these people and crazy fascinated by them. So, and finally, would they like each other if they came together? So I looked at their charts together. And first of all, their signs trine. She is early Aquarius, he is early Libra. So that creates a sense of harmony, and they would understand each other because they both deal on that mental plane. However, that's probably one of the few things that they have that's nice together. Their Mars being in the same sign can create a bit of a competition because they will be doing things the same way, but maybe getting in each other's way or trying to figure out who can get there faster. So I can see that as a challenge. I looked at their composite chart, which is the chart created by finding midpoints between two placements, and that's kind of a separate entity, a chart of their relationship. And in the composite chart, there's some signs of affection and passion, like they have Sun, mutual sign in Sagittarius conjunct Venus. That definitely is a sign of affection. However, Sun also squares Moon. And Sun square Moon is a bit of an opposition between the consciousness and the emotion in the relationship. So it might indicate that they would be working at cross purposes. Sun trines Jupiter, which is a good luck. So if they were to come together and start some kind of venture together, they will likely be successful. Let's hope that never happens. Their moon squares Mars, and Venus opposes Mars in the composite chart, which is a lot more. Venus-Mars opposition can definitely be passionate and highly charged sexually, but it can also be explosive and likely not very long lasting. So, you know, that's what I have for you with these two guys. We'll see. It seems like Simon is trying to become famous and he signed with some agency, and Anna is currently in jail, but she's trying to get her life back on track and kind of stay in New York because she seems to love it very much. So maybe there's going to be part 2 of their story. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about these two guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.